Hey everyone, it's Ken with Ken's Creation. Well, I had a request from one of my foster girls to make her a birthday card featuring Littlest Pet Shop. I could not find any SVG files for Littlest Pet Shop, so using my Designer Edition Cameo software, I imported this file from the internet and I imported it. I was able to edit it, print it, and cut it. So today's entry is going to show you how easily it is to do this on the software. So here's the outside of the card. Once again, it shows Littlest Pet Shop. I also edited it to where instead of it saying Littlest Pet Shop, as you can see, it says Sylvia's Pet Shop. So I'm also going to show you how easily this was done. So go ahead, sit back, relax, and I hope you can see how easy it is to import, print, and cut on the Cameo Silhouette. It's amazing. All right, let's get started. Before I get started and show you how to make these, I want to show you the inside. I also found these on the internet, these three Littlest Pet Shop characters, and I found these and I imported them into my Silhouette software, cut them, and then I used, they are called the action wobbles to make them wobble like that. And then, of course, it says Birthday Girl Love, Kenny and Sean up top. So, once again, these were imported from the internet. I was able then to trace them, print them, and cut them. So, this is one thing why the Silhouette Cameo is sometimes my go-to machine when I have a short time to do a card and I don't have a lot of time to layer images or to really invest a lot of time. This card literally only took about an hour to make because I didn't have to do any layering. It was mostly doing a lot of the designing on the software. And once you get that down, it's really easy. But this is my favorite feature of the Silhouette Cameo, is the print cut feature. So let's go ahead and dig in. I'm going to show you how to import these. Then we're going to go ahead and show you how you can edit, print, and cut them and how easily and fun it can be. All right, let's get started. Let's go into our Silhouette Designer Edition software. Before we actually go into the Silhouette software is we need to find the image we want to import. So in this case, we want to import the Littlest Pet Shop, and I just put logo. You're going to go to this images, and the thing you're going to look for is the bigger the size of the image, the better the quality of the photo. So when you hover over an image, it will tell you how big. So this one's 884 by 715. This one here is 1522 by 1600. So that's the one we want. All we have to do is we just need to right click, save image as, and then in our desktop you can name it whatever. So Littlest Pet Shop logo, and then just hit save. Okay? Once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and go into our Silhouette Studio. And we're going to go ahead and bring that into our studio. So you're going to go up to File. You're going to go to Import to My Library. You're going to look for that Littlest Pet Shop. So here's my Littlest Pet Shop logo. You're going to hit OK. You're going to change the name so we can just go Littlest Pet Shop and then hit OK. Once you've done that, if you go to where it says My Own Designs in your library, there is your image. So let's go ahead and bring that image into our project. So there it is. Now, right now, if I was to cut this image and say cut the edge, it's just going to cut around the box. So obviously we need to change that. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and trace around this item. So you're going to go to the trace, which is this little box with the blue thing in it. You're going to go ahead and select trace area, and then you're going to draw a box around the whole image that you want it to trace. So it's going to trace it for you, but what we want to do is over here you want to take off where it says high pass filter, and then bring your threshold all the way up. Now I don't like how rigid it is, so I always bring my threshold down a little bit until it's nice and round. So right about there. I'm going to hit trace. Now if you hit trace outer edge, it will literally just trace the outer edge. But the problem is it won't trace in between her legs here and this part. So we're going to hit trace. Okay? So now if you move your image out of the way, you can see everywhere where it will cut. So I'm going to put my image right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to change that and get rid of the images we don't want it to cut. Okay, let's go and zoom in. We're going to right click and we're going to hit Release Compound Path. And what that did is it broke it down to all of these little individual images. So looking at your image, obviously we want to cut around the girl and the skunk and everything here and in between her legs, but nothing else. So all you have to do to get rid of these things is take your cursor and draw boxes around everything you don't want and just hit your delete button. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's great because it will cut everywhere you want it to. So we're just going to keep going around and get rid of everything we don't want it to cut. Now you can individually do it, or like I like to do it faster, is you can draw boxes around things and that will include it. So for example, around this Littlest Pet Shop, I'm not going to delete all those just like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue to do this until we have everything that we want cut or deleted off. Now, the other thing that you'll notice is you don't want to cut a lot of, you have to be careful on what you're deleting and not deleting. Obviously, we don't want it to cut around the eyes, but as you get up here to this, I think he's a skunk. Yeah, we don't want it cutting around all of his hair up here, so we're going to get rid of that too. Oops. Oh no. Back done. Gosh, I love that button. I'd be lost without it. So in this case here, as you can see with my skunk, because that's part of the outer line, it's wanting me to get rid of everything. So if I hit that, as you can see, got rid of everything. So this is where your erase button just comes in handy again, because you can actually just hand erase and go through and erase where you don't want it to cut. Okay? All right, so you're going to keep going through. I didn't complete that all the way, as you can see, but I don't want to waste too much of our time showing you that, but you can zoom in and erase very fine in there. So you're just going to keep doing that and going around to the items that you don't want it to cut. And continue doing this until you have exactly the parts you do want it to cut. All right, that looks about good. So the next thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and zoom out now that we know we have it where we want it to cut. Oops. Undo. So we still have a little bit of things that I need to get rid of. So around that skunk area, we still want to get rid of these items here. So we'll do that later though. Anyways, the next thing we're going to do is, if you noticed on my card, I took out that part where it says Littlest and I put Sylvia instead. So let's go ahead and do that next. So what we need to do there is we need to get rid of the Littlest part. So we're going to go ahead and take our eraser and erase through here. So you're going to erase anywhere where it says Littlest. Now, when you're doing this, keep in mind that you want to be careful not to erase any other patterns. Because what we're going to do is we're going to fill this in with the same kind of blue that is on this logo. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're not erasing any patterns that the blue will cover over, because that will just look weird. So once you've done that, you've erased it, we're going to go back to it here. And what we need to do is we also need to release this compound path. Now, as you can see, my thing went away, which is okay. If I can see where the only bad thing is, oops, let's redo that. There we go. So here is my item right here. So we need to separate this out. So we're going to ungroup it. And as you can see, we need to release. Let's go ahead and bring this on the gray part so you guys can see it better. Okay, so right there, as you can see, it's gray. So if we release the compound path, that littlest part's going to come back. But if you move the image, as you can see there it is right there. So you're going to select this image, and go up to your fill here. And if I hit white, it gets rid of that littlest part, as you can see. So we're going to bring that back down here and line it up. So if we zoom in now on this. Now the only reason I moved it over to the gray is when I'm working with white, it's hard to tell if it's white or gray. So we need to line this up to where it was, which is about right there. And then all we're going to do is we're going to grab this dropper. If you've never used this dropper, it is amazing because it will match any color for you. So we want to make sure that this is still selected. Hit that dropper and pick whatever blue you want. So I think we're going to do this lighter blue. Actually, I think we're going to do a little bit of a darker blue. You want it to be as close as you can, obviously, to that matching this blue over here. All right, there we go. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and group this so I can move it around. And let's go ahead and bring it back onto the page. So there it is. Okay. So the next thing we need to do before we put it back in our cut section is we need to get that littlest, or the name of whoever you're trying to put right here. I want it to kind of match that pet shop. So we're going to go into our text. And you're literally going to just go down and try to find a text you like. If you have never used these texts, you can actually go to defont.com and try to find a text you like. So I always just type my text, and I will go down and just kind of use the text that I think I want. I knew it needed to be kind of cursive because that's the littlest part in Pet Shop, but I didn't want it to be too crazy. So I use this thing called Boingo, I think. Boingo. And what we need to do is we need to color this to match what the littlest was. So once again, I'm going to move it over here, and the color on the Littlest Pet Shop was white, and then the line color was a pink color. So we're going to use that line dropper again, this little dropper, and I want it to match this pink. Okay, so there's her name. Now we need to turn this because it was facing like this. So we need to turn it. Now before I move this, we also want to make sure we don't cut this part, the Sylvia part, okay? So we're going to go ahead and make sure that that says no cut. And then we're just going to move it up here. And now obviously we need this to be smaller. So let's go ahead and downsize it a little bit. A little more. Oh, you know what I did? Just so you guys catch this, I'm not going to fix it, but I forgot my apostrophe S. It should say Sylvia's Pet Shop. So once I get it to a part where I like it, which I like it right there, we're once again going to group that. Okay, so now that it's grouped, I can move it back over here to my cut settings. So we want to bring this to the forward, this cut setting. Oops. Should probably group my cut settings. Okay, so once again, we just need to now line up these cut settings with the rest. The best way to do this is zoom in and make sure you have your thing selected, and then get it where you think it should be, and then use your keyboard arrows up and down to get it to line up perfectly. And I think right there is perfect. So we're going to right click on this, and we're going to, actually let's go ahead and zoom out. We're going to highlight the whole thing. We're going to right click, we're going to group, and now it's grouped. Okay? So let's go and check our cut settings to make sure where it's cutting. So it's cutting all along here. So we don't want it to cut this. I guess you could. but we just want it to cut around, oops, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Okay, so that looks good. You can have it cut around the box. It's going to cut it out anyways here. So we need to set up my page. We need to show registration marks, and I print on 8.5. So this portion of the card, of the front of the card, is done. The only other thing we had is we had those little, I don't really know if you remember them, but on the inside of the card were those little critter things. So we're going to go ahead and import those into our library. So import to my library again. And I believe I named them, let's see, LPS Cute, LPS 3. So let's start with LPS Cute. And we're going to do another one. Import to my library, which is the LPS 3. And the last one is Funny PS. I just name them random things. I don't know why. So we're going to import LPS, what did I say? Funny PS. There it is. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and bring all of them in session, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to trace them and go ahead and resize them and do it that way. So I hope this has helped to show you how to import files from the internet and then go ahead and edit them to where it can cut perfect settings. This is very easy to do. This is one of the reasons I